G'day everyone and welcome to another episode of Aussie Tech Security. Yes, we apologise, it's been a little while since in between episodes, but that's just the way that life goes, isn't it? But we've actually, Roger has caught me and he's tied me down this week, so we're doing a podcast now. So we're going to talk about ransomware this episode, but first of all, let's say g'day to Roger and check in and see what's been happening there. Hey Rog, how you going?
Hey Glenn, how are you?
And not too bad, thanks. You finished in, I was going to say you finished in Canberra, but you are in Canberra.
Yes.
You finished in wherever you were in the security
I finished
centre.
in ADFA for this semester, so they're all happy and doing everything else, and now I've just got to mark all their bloody reports, but nothing serious. But
oh, you love it. You love it.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we might as well get straight into it because I know this is a fairly intense topic, I suppose, and probably on the in the news and in the emails of late and whatever, because it's been going around a bit. So ransomware. So I suppose, can you explain, or I suppose, what is it to start with?
Okay, ransomware is it's an infection that can be delivered to a computer either through an email attachment or a link in an email that goes to another to an infected site that will actually download it, or it can be that you've just been surfing the internet and you've gone to a place that's already infected with it, and it will then download to your PC through the browser.
Right. So I was going to ask you actually, because it's interesting that you mentioned downloads through the browser. So I was sort of under the impression that the ransomware had to be, say, activated by the operator. But is that not right?
No longer true. There's a lot of things about some of the newer versions of ransomware that are coming through now that are, I suppose, changing the direction of how they are attacking. Yes, some of them still have to be activated by clicking on a link, but we've actually been experimenting in the range at ADFA with some of the more dangerous types of malware that's coming through, and they no longer need to be activated by people when you don't actually physically have to click on a link.
Right. So how do they get into the machine and say for Windows machines, past the UAC controls and all that sort of stuff?
Relatively easily, actually.
Oh, excellent. Great to hear.
I thought you'd like that. We've been playing with, now there's a lot of things around that you can use. One of them is Metasploit that the bad guys use, and they use it rather regularly. But there's a couple of others that actually plug into Metasploit that give you actually access to web browsers and actually turns a web browser into an attack weapon. Right. And some of the stuff is really an eye-opener on how it all works. It all relies on 99% of it relies on social engineering. So to get people to do something stupid is still their primary target, whether that is clicking on a link, opening an email, or being stupid enough to go to a link that they didn't think they'd actually gone to. So
right,
that's one of the bigger problems. Yeah.
So you mentioned Metasploit.
Metasploit.
I've just Googled that. Now it says it's a penetration testing tool.
Yeah, it's great for penetration testing, but as you can imagine, for every good thing that it's used for, it's probably got really, really bad connotations as well. Now we use it to actually target a client to find out if their systems are secure, as in the penetration testing component. But when it comes to the bad guys getting hold of it, it can be very, very nasty. So it's one of those things you don't even know it's happening.
Right.
We've been actually doing a lot of development work for next semester's course because we actually want to take it in a totally different direction. And some of that is finding out what is now available, what they're doing with it, how they're changing what they're doing, all of this sort of stuff, so that we can actually deliver it to the students in a comprehensive package that actually gives them an idea of what the digital world is really like.
Now I know ransomware is becoming more prolific. Do you think it's is it growing, say, exponentially? Is it becoming a real problem, or is it sort of just bubbling away? No,
it's a huge problem. It really is. Now there's two reasons. Now ransomware, they reckon, has made $1 billion this year. Okay, for whoever's putting it out there.
Wow.
Now the reason why it's so successful is everybody's got this attitude that I've got nothing to lose until it happens. Then you suddenly realize that you haven't got videos of your grandkids anymore. You haven't got photos of your grandkids anymore.
Yep.
Your email is all stuffed up and doesn't want to play the game anymore, so you can't talk to anybody. If it's done properly, ransomware is only the beginning. But all of these connotations, literally, one of the actual guys on the last course we did, actually got ransomware, and didn't that bring it home because he had 2 things to hand in the day after it happened, and he literally had to redo them from scratch. Now,
dear.
Ransomware targets that vulnerability of the human that says we've got nothing of value, it's not important if I lose it, until it happens. And then you've really got a choice. Have you got a backup, or are you going to pay the ransom, or are you going to redo everything that's on there?
But it's like, when you used to reformat your computer. I mean, I used to, probably still now, but I've got more of a better regime happening now. But you think, I've got all my backup, all my data, everything, blah, blah, blah. But it's not until you actually format that hard drive, then you go, I should have got that, or like my favourites, or my emails.
The database for that program that I've been playing with for the last 6 months is in C drive, and it's not in my documents. Yes, I know exactly how the feeling you're working on, because it's happened to us a few times. One of the things that we recommend is there's a product. Well, there's 2 products. One's called Paragon, and the other one is called Shadow Protect. Very good, very well worth the investment, because what they do is they do an image backup. And you can actually set it up so it does 15-minute incremental backups of your hard drive, which means that if something happens to your system, then you literally go, okay, it happened at 2 o'clock, I can roll it back to 1 o'clock, and all the data is still safe and secure. I just re-image it over the top again, and off you go. For a home computer, it's probably about $60 or $70. And you can get a license for 3 years, and it's well worth the investment.
So when it images, so this is going probably down more of a product road now, but so when it images, so you've got a 500 gig hard drive, you have to have a 500 gig hard drive?
No, as long as it depends on the size of the partition. But if you've got a 500 gig hard drive and you can't get a 500 gig, you can put it onto a terabyte or 2 terabyte or 4 terabyte.
Right. So do you have to go, say, to if you've got a 500, do you have to minimum have a 500 backup, or will it only say back up the data that's actually on it and not the empty space?
No, it doesn't back up the empty space unless you tick the box that says empty space. Yeah, I agree. You could probably get it, like most people, once they've used a 500 gig size hard drive, will want to use another 500 gig. They won't go back to 160 type thing. But there are times when you just have to, and this will handle that as well. So,
okay, so it does an image of the operating system, just the whole kit and caboodle.
Whatever's on the hard drive, bang. And all it does is it captures any changes in the hard drive between those 15 minutes, and then you do a full backup once a week, and that then replaces everything that you've done as incrementals, and then it starts again. Really good product. We've never come across a problem with it.
Right.
And it will actually do a lot more as well, but the main thing about it is its imaging capability.
So what's stopping, say, this program? So it will back it up onto that external hard drive. It's like an image file, I guess.
Yeah, it's one file. Right. Each incremental is an additional file, but there's an image file of the hard drive, and then there's an incremental image file of each up.
So what would stop ransomware from encrypting that file?
Nothing.
Because you've got the previous...
and that's one of the other reasons we say that instead of doing one hard drive, you do 2.
Right.
Okay, so every day you change your hard drives.
Right.
Okay, so that covers that.
Yes.
Or you do it every week. And, if you think about it, depending on how much information is going through your system, depends on how much damage they could do if you get ransomware.
I suppose, just quickly, I just thought maybe people don't know exactly what ransomware does, but just quickly.
Ransomware literally is when you click on a link or open up an application that's been delivered to you via email. What it does is it starts at the top of your My Documents folder and starts encrypting every folder. As it goes through, literally, it comes up and it puts a file into those directories saying all your data is now encrypted. If you click on it, it's usually an HTML file. It'll give you a place to pay the money. That's why it's called ransomware.
Yeah.
Now, as I said, two schools of thought about this is either you restore from backup or you pay the ransom. It depends on how you want to play the game. But the trouble is once you've paid for the ransomware, it doesn't end there.
Right. Okay.
Just because we've come across a large number of people who have gone, okay, I'm going to pay the $200 because it's usually somewhere between $50 and $500 of the ransomware, depending on who it is.
Yeah.
We've paid X amount of dollars. They've been nice and sent us a key. We've unencrypted our hard drive. We're not going to worry about anything else. Bad move. It really is a bad move because most of the ransomware that we've seen has got a keylogger component. So it goes on there and it stays on your computer and it records all your transactions, everything that you do on your system. And in addition, there's a third payload, and the third payload is quite spectacular. It encrypts your data in 6 months' time, and it says you paid the initial ransom. We now want 10 times the amount.
Wow. So
okay. So the best thing you can do is if you get ransomware, yes, you pay the ransom and you get all the keys back and everything else. Back up your data, blow the computer away, restore your data.
So I suppose, yeah, so if you, just by getting the key and decrypting your files, yet the ransomware probably still, say it still sits in that email that came through. If someone was to click on that email and go through the process again, I'm wondering, would it use another key?
Possibly, yes. I've never come across anybody who's been stupid enough to do that. But what people forget is the encryption component is nothing to do with the malware itself.
Right, yes.
Okay, and that's where people really get confused. Okay, I've got the key, I've decrypted my system, it's now back to normal, but the ransomware is still on the system.
That's right. Yeah,
okay, and that's a huge problem.
Yes. So, okay, how do you, say, protect yourself? Say, we'll start from the office first, I suppose. Like, what's the best way? You know, you've got your little secretary down there. You've got, say, the I don't know, the plumber that comes in every day to print off some paperwork. He's got a little USB drive and all this sort of stuff. You know, the receptionist, she doesn't care too much about security. She just plugs away doing what she does. Like, what's the best way to insulate yourself, to educate, insulate, or just if there are people?
Well, we've now got an attitude that we actually have started pushing in the last 12 months. Now, there's 4 points to that attitude. One is trust no one. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter whether they're in the ADFA's context, whether it's your drinking buddy, or your mother, or your girlfriend, or your boyfriend. It doesn't bloody matter. Don't trust anything they send you. Always look at it from they could have been compromised and they are now trying to compromise me. Yeah. So never trust anybody. The second one is be paranoid about it. There's 300 million hackers out there, even though probably only 0.1% are the true hackers, and they are the ones delivering things like ransomware. But there's 300 million hackers out there, and they are all after you because you have a device that is connected to the digital world. Yeah. So be paranoid about it. The other two are a bit less so confrontational, and that is be very aware of what is going on. And literally, if someone is talking about ransomware, listen to what they're saying. Because if someone's experienced it, it means that then you won't experience it because you're listening to what happened to them. And the other one is just use common sense. You know? Yes. Common sense is so uncommon it's not funny, and that's one of the biggest reasons that ransomware has this foothold because we aren't paranoid. We do trust too many people. We don't look at the attitudes of what the bad guys are actually doing. So it makes us a prime target, and this is one of the biggest problems we've got.
Because I know, like I numerous times I've sat down and thought to myself when I get 5 seconds, and then you think, you know, like I've got a little server with all my data on it at home and everything, and you know the kids, they got computers, wife's got computers. Now it only takes one of them to click on a dud email, and everything's fried.
Yep.
So how am I supposed to protect my data? Like I've got
Yep.
backups and everything, but say to protect the thing from happening, because I suppose if I got I got the ransomware into my computer, then you'd be thinking, although I can format this computer, but then has it sort of nestled itself into every other computer
Yep.
in the house? Yep. Do I have to format everything?
Yes. Ransomware, luckily for us, is not a worm. So it doesn't bounce from computer to computer. It actually needs to be transferred in some way. So in that respect, you're relatively safe. You get it on X machine, then that machine is the one that's compromised. The other thing about it is when it comes to ransomware, if you've got shared folders, then it is going to encrypt those as well. Now, we're working on a PowerShell application at the moment that we're going to run on our clients' PCs. We've had a client who's got ransomware 3 times in 7 months. One of them was on late on a Friday afternoon, and they didn't realize it until Monday morning, and everything has been encrypted on the server, as in everything they had access to, that person had access to. So it was a huge problem. So we're actually putting together a script that will actually look at anything that's being encrypted and actually literally disconnect the computer from the server.
Right.
Okay, and what it does is, we might have 2 or 3 folders that have been encrypted, but it's not going to encrypt the whole lot. Right, and to me, that's a lot more important because we can then restore. Each one of those 3 times that company got ransomware, it took us more than 12 hours each time to restore all their data. Now, again, we took their machines offline, we blew them away, we rebuilt them, we brought them back on board. But it's still a huge process to get that done. Yeah. And if you think about it, we charge, depending on who you are, $90 to $120 an hour, and this is a 10-hour job. So it's just cost you not only the ransomware component, but it's now cost you $900. So
that's a very expensive exercise.
Yeah.
So with that one that went down 3 times, was there a single point of failure? Was it the same point of failure?
No, it's 3 different people. They didn't learn.
Oh dear!
We've been trying to get it. They're a company of probably 15 people, and we've been trying to get into there, saying we need to teach you people about cybersecurity, and they're always too busy, or all of this sort of stuff. The business is more important. But if you think about it, it just cost them, let's say $5,000 each for each time. This is for those 3 episodes that they really didn't have to pay for if they'd actually been thinking about along those lines of trust no one, be paranoid.
So just say me sitting at home, what's the best way, apart from education, is because sometimes that's hard, but is there a way I can protect myself?
Yes, you can. There are a number of antivirus products around. As everybody keeps telling me that antivirus is all technology, but hackers are lazy like everybody else. If I get a piece of malware, or if I want to design a piece of malware, I'm going to get information from other places. So those signatures from those places, for instance, the keylogger in malware is from 2 or 3 years ago. So if I get that on my machine, my antivirus is going to go, I've seen that before, I'm not going to allow that to work.
Right.
Which is really good. So yes, the initial infection may be a problem because it may bypass antivirus, but other components of it will catch up. The other thing about malware is they'll actually turn antivirus off. So you just got to be very aware of that's how they're doing it. And in addition to that, probably things like Malwarebytes is a good investment, as in keep it running the free version on your computer. That will pick up most things that are coming through.
Yes.
So as I said, there's technology-wise, there's not much you can do about it. Things like if you're using Outlook, don't allow executables to run, including things like PowerShell executables, which is PS1s, which are relatively new that are now coming through. But even just basic applications and executable files, just don't allow them to run. The other thing is on your browser, run. Just be very aware about things like Flash and Java, because Java usually is the one that they use to get in. You'll go to a website to look at a video, you'll get there, the video doesn't run because your Java's not active or all that type of thing, and you'll be told that you have to update it.
Yeah.
That's one of the hooks they use to get you to download the malware. The video still won't work, but you've now got
the malware.
Ransomware.
Excellent. Yeah, so I suppose there's no, you can't help stupid. So you're saying the best thing is to
true.
back up.
The other thing is, and I hate to say this, but the best thing you can do is move away from Internet Explorer.
Right.
Because all the malware targets Internet Explorer, it doesn't target the other browsers. So Chrome, Firefox, even Safari are a lot more secure than what Internet Explorer is and Edge is.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about good old Edge?
Edge is just Internet Explorer rebadged with a few bit extras on it.
Yeah, just with a funky new logo.
Yeah. Oh, now we're being facetious.
Yeah. So now, when you said you mentioned, you don't let executables through and all this sort of stuff. So this is like just going back to that UAC. So is it worth putting up a admin password? Because you get told you set your computer up with the admin password. You set yourself up a user account, so therefore nothing can get in because it doesn't have the password. Is that still recommended?
It's huge. One thing we are now pushing is it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. If you have a computer, administrator account doesn't access the internet through a browser and doesn't have an email account. I did a presentation to the chiefs of staff about 4 weeks ago, and one of them was a demonstration about how an Adobe compromise can get through your system. And what we did it with a normal user and we did it with an administrator. The normal user, yes, he can get compromised and yes, he cause problems, but I can't do as much damage as if I had access as the administrator. So what we're now pushing is you buy a new computer, you turn it on, you open it up. The first account is the God account.
Yep.
So that's the administrator. You then create another user as well. That one's the one you use every day. And when you want to install something, you'll get a pop-up that says, need to install an application, username and password. Put on the admin password. Easy as pie. It really is.
I'll have to probably look further into that because I'm sort of a little bit confused with these days with Windows, how you sign in with your Windows Live, your Microsoft Live account.
Microsoft Live is a power user. It's not an administrator. Okay, and that is the difference. So it still has restrictions on installing information onto the computer.
Right.
But it also depends on whether it's the first account being set up on the computer as well.
Right, yes.
Okay, you know how it comes up with the box and you say, do you want to create a user or do you want to use your user account? If you create a user, which is the administrator, and then create your live account, then this is a power user. Right. This is the administrator.
Yes, well, I might have to think about that next time I format because when you format, you just go, okay, well, I'm going to be it says, what's your Microsoft Live account or whatever it is. So you just go, oh, well, this is what it is, creates that. So then it's creating the administrator. Right, I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to have to work my way around that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so, okay, so the main thing is to back your damn stuff up.
Yeah, the best protection is get rid of this attitude that if something happens to me, I'm not going to have a problem. Yeah. And the only way to do that is make sure you have a really comprehensive backup.
So when the ransomware strikes, and I know, it can go through your network, so it then searches through all connected computers and shared folders, as you said. So is it changes the name, say, from a Word document from a .docx to a .encrypt or something?
Yes.
So,
or pay me money.
Yes. So that means that it's actually changing the file to encryption file.
Yep.
But it's not renaming. So if you've got a backup on an external drive, well, it's going to be renamed. If you've got your files backed up in the cloud, they're safe enough.
Yes.
Up there?
Relatively. Okay. Now, the other thing about it is the newer versions of crypto virus are now coming through that actually target Google apps, and they also target OneDrive. Right. Okay. So, and Dropbox as well. Now, the difference between that is you can actually contact Dropbox or Microsoft and say, I need my data back, and they will actually restore back from their backups.
Oh,
okay, so they have got backups on most of their systems.
Yes.
It's just very complicated to get hold of them and very complex ways of doing it. But yes, you can get information back. When it comes to your own personal stuff, that's when it gets really complicated, because they, as I said, they encrypt all of that information across the board. And yes, not so much they look for shares, but they are looking for shares that you are connected to.
Yeah.
So if you have access to a server with those shares on them and you have read-write access, then they will actually then encrypt them.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Oh no, it's a bit of a bugger, isn't it? Like, you just hope that you just don't get it.
It's a freaking horrible environment. It really is. One of the, as I said, it's $1 billion organization now. So in 12 months, or less than 12 months, they've made that sort of money. So it actually does show two things. One, how gullible we are to get to that situation, and also this idea that we are too small to be a target, it won't happen to us, all of that sort of stuff. It really brings home the fact that these people had antivirus in place, and they had they were intelligent enough not to click on links, but they probably went to a website they shouldn't have gone to. Right. All of that sort of stuff actually drives this stuff to make you realize that the digital world is no longer, as I say, rainbows and unicorns. It really is a bloody dangerous place. And if you want to lose that information and lose your edge, then not taking it seriously is a really good way of doing it.
Yeah, so look, there's more information we can get. I suppose not in-depth information. You're going to have to give Roger a ring if you got problems.
Give me a ring anytime.
But if you want some overall basic information, it's a webpage, staysmartonline.gov.au.
Yes.
So So you rate that page. That's just full of information, what to do, who to ring if you've got, bad stuff going on, like sexual exploitation or criminal activity. There's pages called Scam Watch.
Yep.
Even Whirlpool gets a start in the.
Yeah, well, Whirlpool's another place to actually ask some really interesting questions, and you'll always get decent answers back from them. It's usually populated by people who actually know what they're talking about. So in that respect, it's really good.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. So I think anything else that you can think of you want to talk about ransomware?
I don't think so. I just really want to reiterate the fact that it's a really big problem, and it hasn't been a huge problem in Australia. But if you ask anybody in Europe and America, it is huge. It really is. My contacts in the industry, in the IT industry, are literally tracing their tail in the States with this, because people are so friggin' stupid about the whole thing. Now, the other thing is, don't forget, you can get ransomware on your mobile phones.
Yeah, okay. Apple phones or just Android phones?
No, both phones. You can get it. These things are designed. They run a specific type of coding that actually runs on anything, so it doesn't matter how you do it, and so you've got to be very aware of this type of thing as well.
So just getting quickly, I just had a thought back to click on emails and everything. As far as I can see, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong here. As far as I can see, on my emails with Gmail, so they're not on a little server somewhere or my own server. They're on Gmail. In the spam, Gmail seems to pick out a lot of this stuff, because you look at the 9% of the stuff coming through on Gmail and Office 365 gets caught. Yes, yeah, because I look through my spam folder and you see you've got a parcel, you've got this, and the ATO. ActuAGL is another one where we get hammered with regularly. Yeah, press off on this link and we'll redo your gas bill. Yeah, and things like that. I haven't got gas. That's right. So I suppose another recommendation would it be to, like, if you're running your own email server, you got to make sure that you are right onto all this stuff. Or if you've got your own email server, you need an anti-spam system at the front of it. You really do, to that level. Whether it's removing all applications and people have to actually then go back into your spam bucket to find out what's going on, or one that is actually looking at all of the information coming through it and checking links and all that sort of stuff as well. I suppose if I was in, I was going to say if I was in business. Hopefully you are in business. I am, and I have got a Gmail account, I suppose, but not a business Gmail account. But I suppose it would be worth the $5 per email account per month, because like let Gmail try and suck the crap out of your life first.
Yeah.
You know, like that they seem to be doing a good job. So I'm sure that Outlook Online and probably the rest of them do pretty much the same. But I think Gmail's probably my tip. So I'd have a look at
Gmail's a good alternative. It also goes back to the marketing of your business and visibility of business. If you've got your own domain name and you're going through Gmail, then it is a lot more beneficial for you because you're Fred at whatever the company name instead of company name at Gmail, which sort of loses a lot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's something that people really, when they're starting business, don't actually think about. But by getting a Gmail account, it is a lot more secure in that respect. You can set it up on anything and you can run it on anything, which makes it even better. So,
and you don't have to just go to gmail.com all the time. You can still use your desktop Outlook. You can still use your Thunderbird or your phone or whatever. All right. Well, I think that's covered it, Roger. Are you happy with that?
I think it is too.
Yeah.
I think it's
good stuff.
Nice talk.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, there's a good few tips in there. The what was that first thing you mentioned? That Metatroska or something? I'll have a look at that.
Metasploit.
That's
Metasploit is the back end of what they use. Using Metasploit, I can actually create the malware, or not so much the malware, but the crypto malware that they can then package up and send after something else.
When is this? I suppose this stuff is already illegal to do.
Nothing is illegal on the internet. Did you know that?
Well, it doesn't appear to be. But if you were to sit down and create malware, and someone say knew you had done it, would you get into trouble for that?
Oh yeah. It depends on where. You can target yourself, not a problem. You can target your own business. It's one of the reasons why we have ironclad contracts when we do a penetration test. Right. Depending on what the penetration test is, if it's a red team penetration test, literally the only thing we want from a client is the company name. Yep. And then it's our responsibility, and we do not use social engineering. This is a purely technical test to make sure that their systems that have got in place can't be hacked. Now, if we put in social engineering, I can guarantee 100% that we will get through, and that's the difference.
Right.
Social engineering is because we're using humans, and it really does compound the problems.
Yeah. Okay.
If we had lots of computers doing it all, it wouldn't be a problem. But the moment you put a human behind a keyboard and a mouse, then we are stupid enough to do something stupid.
Yeah, all right.
And it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody does it. It really is. And until people actually realise that, hey, that what we take into the real world and what we take into the digital world should be totally different. Because people just go, I can take all this stuff into the digital world. No, you can't. Bad move.
Yeah, it's like all those emails that are coming out from WikiLeaks over in the US. It's just like, you can't believe these people putting all this sort of their inner thoughts or whatever on the emails. Like they're really bad.
I'm going to dump it onto an email and put it somewhere so someone can read it.
Yeah. But anyway, that's another story. All right. So if you got issues or you want to find out more, you might want to avail of Roger's services. Where can they contact you, Roger?
You can contact me at www.rniconsulting.com.au, or if you want to just send me an email, just roger@rogersmith.com.au.
All right. Now they've got a Facebook page as well.
I've got a Facebook page. 110010DS.
So
had to think of that.
So why haven't you made that easier? Why haven't you?
Because it's binary for digital security.
Okay, fair enough.
No, it's not. But
sounds good.
Yeah, well, there was no connotations or variations of digital security we could use at the page.
Oh, right.
So we went, what the hell? We'll use something totally different. But you can also contact me via Twitter,
right,
at SME Security as well.
Are you big on Twitter?
7,500 people. So.
Oh, right. So you tweet a fair bit.
Close to 100 tweets a day, actually.
Oh, what? Really?
What do you mean? Oh, what? They're all automated. They're all stuff coming back to the website. I get pretty close to 2,500 to 3,000 forwards a day.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And also, I'm getting somewhere between 60 and 150 clicks on links back to the websites.
Yeah, so, nice work. Good stuff.
So we're actually. It's vastly improved in the last 12 months. We were getting absolutely stuff all coming through, and now we are
starting to make some traction.
Yeah, which is what we need. And we're not selling shit. That's the other thing. We're not pointing you to go here and buy this. This is all straight. If you want to know about this, this is one of the places to go, and that's literally what it is. I think one out of 100 tweets has got something to go and buy my book or go here and buy this and that type of thing. The rest of the stuff is just purely information.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, so talk to Roger if you've got a problem and you might avail of his services, or you can email me at glenn@aussietechheads.com.au, and thanks to athwebhosting.com.au who provide the bandwidth, whatever, for the podcast. What sounds good, doesn't it? All right, so thanks, Roger, and we'll see you quite soon, hopefully, for another episode. All right.
Yes, hopefully, Glenn. I think we should do this regularly.
All right, yes, so do I. I do, I do, but we'll make more of an effort. All right, thanks, Roger. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks, Glenn.